Ronald Peter Roman has been involved in the field of distribution, franchise, trademark, and corporate law, including merger and acquisition law and trade regulation law for more than 35 years. And he told me he was only 39 years old, so. A 1976 graduate of Fordham University School of Law, Ron is admitted to practice law in Florida, New York, and New Jersey. He holds an MBA in International Business from Pace University, graduating with high honors, and a BS in Marketing. I guess that stands to go right, BS in Marketing, from Penn State University. Ron was the chairman of the Florida Bar Continuing Education, Legal Education Department Steering Committee for the Florida Franchise Law and Practice book in 1985. He authored 2 of its chapters. In addition, he lectures on franchise and trademark law for the Florida Bar and the American Bar Association. His practice includes both transactional and litigation work in trade regulation matters, including mergers and acquisitions and antitrust law and price discrimination law and related business litigation. In addition, his business and litigation practice, he represents clients in the acquisition and sale of aircraft parts. Aircraft, period. Aviation law matters have included the acquisition of commercial airplanes such as Boeing 707s and 727s, as well as turboprop and private corporation jets. In 1989, Ron was the founding member and first co-chair of the Franchise Law Committee of the Florida Bar. He was the chair of the committee 3 times between 1981 and 2002. He was also a member of the Executive Council of the Florida Bar's Business Law section. On behalf of the Franchise Law Committee and the Business Law section of the Florida Bar, Ron drafted the 1993 revision to the Florida Sale of Business Opportunities Act, which imposes a notice filing requirement on franchisors and clarifies ambiguities regarding exemptions available to franchisors. He has also given presentations on franchising and trademarks to civic organizations, a frequent guest on radio talk shows concerning business development, distribution systems, and franchising. Ron did live line interviews for WINZ on various legal issues that were the core of then current news stories. My pleasure to introduce Ron Roman, who will talk to us today about document protection and emails. All right.
Ron, thank you very much. I couldn't have said it better if I wrote it myself, but then I did.
I edited it though.
2 things that I didn't put in there. There are some companies that aren't big enough to have an in-house attorney, and there are others that don't want an in-house attorney under the same roof. So I provide outside general counsel services. I am also an arbitrator and mediator, so if any of the attorneys need a mediator for a case, I am available. But what I want to talk about are 2 things: document retention and emails. Emails are documents, and I'm going to start with email protocol first. We all send out emails to numerous people using the same email, and we list everybody at top, just like we get things from Rotary. When you respond, unless you really, really think that everyone on the list wants to know whether you're coming to something or not coming, just respond back to the person who sent it. Don't click reply all. I don't know how many emails anyone out here gets in a day, but I probably get 60 plus emails every day, and out of that, 40 of them are junk, or spam, or I really don't care. 20 might be worthwhile. So don't hit reply all. Also, be careful. I sent an email to someone mentioning that I didn't want somebody to appear at a particular event that the Florida Bar had, so that they shouldn't be invited because I knew someone was thinking of inviting them. The idiot just forwarded my email on to that other person.
Okay.
Now, I felt really terrible. You have to be careful. You do not know when you're putting your foot in your mouth or somebody else's mouth, and it's just email protocol. But now getting back to documents, emails are documents. Documents include anything recorded on tangible media or a memorandum of something that's not recorded on a tangible media if the memorandum is in fact recorded. So it's a widespread what a document is. It's not just a piece of paper. How long do you have to keep emails and other documents? If you're in a profession, a realtor, a lawyer, an accountant, you probably have guidelines supplied by the organization that regulates you. If you have a contract, and by the way, in here in this material, I have listed certain of the statutes of limitation. That is a statute in the state of Florida, and most other states have it also, that says how long it is until you cannot bring an action. So for instance, if I have a written contract with Bruce, and Bruce breaches that contract, and I don't do anything for 5 years, the statute of limitation says I can't do anything. If I have an oral contract, it's 4 years. But that's all here in the material. If anybody wants it, if they'll email me at rproman@romanlaw.net, I will be happy to send you an email back with the document that is on the tables now, capsulizing what I'm talking about. What I do want to mention is something that's near and dear to all of our hearts. We all pay taxes, I presume. And how long do you have to keep a tax return? Well, the IRS says that for non-evasion, that is for less than 25% distortion of your taxes, there is a statute of limitations, 3 years. But it's not 3 years from the date you filed if you're an early filer in January. It's 3 years from the later of the date you filed. So if you went on extension, it goes beyond April 15th. The due date, whichever's later. So if you filed in August because you went on extension, and you throw your background material and support for your tax return out in April 3 years later, and then you find out you're being audited, sorry, tough luck. If it's more than 25%, it's 6 years. That's a long time, so you gotta know what you did on your tax return. That's just for the IRS. Oh, and by the way, a failure to file, I overheard somebody about 3 weeks ago bragging that back, I guess it was in the late 70s, they didn't file taxes. There is no statute of limitation. It is forever. It is just the same statute of limitation that applies to the crime of murder. There is none. Now, what about Florida taxes? Those of us that are in businesses that collect sales tax or have to pay tax to the state of Florida, you've got 3 years from, again, the later of the time you file, the due date, in which they can bring an action against you for any returns filed after July 1. For refunds made on or after July 1, if you have gotten a refund, there's another 3 years from the date of the refund. So if you get money back because you said you filed an amended return, it turns out the amended return didn't quite make it to the level that was acceptable to the state, it's 3 years from the date you got your money back. Same thing applies with the IRS. If you get a refund that, let's say you filed, most people file online now, but if you filed a paper return and you got a refund back 8 weeks later, and that 8 weeks was after the date you filed, same thing applies. They can come after you for 3 years.